Good day and welcome. My name is Dawn and I'm a Yin Yoga instructor. The class today, this Yin Yoga class, will be about 35 minutes. I call it my Easy Flow. Very accessible to pretty much anyone. So even if you've never done yoga, I feel that you would probably be able to do this class. So for props, for what you need, a yoga mat if you have one, blocks, 2 blocks would be good. If you don't have blocks, no worries. You can grab a couple stacks of books, or a stack of books. We'll break it down to make that into like 2 blocks, okay? And a blanket. Always great to have a blanket or 2. Yoga bolster, if you have. If you don't have any of these yoga bolsters, no worries. Just grab some pillows, couch cushions, or pillows. They will work just the same, and you really don't even need to have that, to have anything. So grab what you need and make your way back to your mat, and we'll get going. Okay, so the first posture today is butterfly. And I'd like to do this in 2 different variations. So the first variation is a reclined butterfly that I like to prop up with the bolster. Again, you don't have to have a bolster, you can do it without. So you either prop it nice, really high like that. I'm going to just show you this quickly. Come back up to your bolster, lie back on the bolster, and just sink into it, and here you go. This is the posture. You bring your soles of your feet together. We're going to find some opening in the inner thighs here, and breathe. So if you're there, if you're in this posture, stay there. Don't move. I'm just going to move around a bit and talk a bit. So if you don't really like that totally propped up, you could just use 1 block. You could prop a little bit lower. You could just use your bolster, so now you're even lower, you get a bit more into that lower back. Or you could even just come right down. You don't have any pillows, you don't have cushions, you don't have a bolster, no worries. Lie back on your mat, the soles of your feet together, and breathe. None of these postures today will be held for very long. 35 minutes goes pretty quickly. If anything hurts, don't stay in the posture. Come on out. If it's just achy, if you're just thinking, wow, I haven't felt anything in this area of my body for a long time, or oh, that's really achy, or oh gosh, a lot of sensations, that's okay. This is what we want. We want to know we're alive. And we do want to feel something when we're in the postures. Just a few more breaths here. So whether you are on your back or propped up, sending your breath where you do feel the achiness. Staying in this posture, don't come out yet. Breathing into your inner thighs, breathing into your hips. It's such a nice hip opener. It's a very gentle hip opener. And anybody that really actually knows me knows that I start the majority of my yoga classes with this posture. Just feel like it's a really nice way to settle in, to arrive on your mat, and at the same time, we're in a posture. We're getting some opening in our hips. We'll stay for 3 more long inhales and long exhales. Inhaling through the nose. Pausing at the top. And then open your mouth and release it. Close your mouth. Inhale again, nice and deeply through the nose. Open your mouth and release. And one more on your own. So as you inhale, notice your body expanding. Take up as much space as you can. And as you exhale, maybe you notice a sinking feeling. Maybe you notice your body gathering back to center. Come back to your natural breath. And on your next inhale, push yourself up, pushing your hands into the floor, coming up to seated. The props can stay where they are if you do have props. Staying here in the upright position for a couple breaths, just noticing what you feel. What you feel in the area that we're working, but maybe what you feel in your entire body. One more breath here. And then choosing to choosing to either stay upright like this or to fold forward. If you're not loving this, if you're not loving the seated position, you can come back into your recline. This is fine. You're still working those inner thighs. You're still working the hips. If you'd like to try something a little bit different, from here, inhale, find that length in your body, and as you exhale, fold over those feet. The soles of the feet press lightly together, folding forward to wherever you can. As soon as you find that edge, as soon as you feel something, that's where you stay. So my feet are out away from my body in a little bit of a diamond shape. You can be a little bit closer if that feels good, or even further away, a bigger diamond shape. In a more active yoga class, you might pull his feet right in and fold forward. In the yin, we take a little bit of a different approach, a softer approach. We want a bit more space here. So inhaling, finding that length, and as you exhale, moving from the tummy, your chest forward, your shoulders just soft. Releasing down. If you start to feel something, maybe in the lower back, wherever you feel it, but most often I think that we'll feel this first in our lower back, in the lower back region here. So when you start to feel something, this is known as your edge, just stay. Breathe, and then maybe, just maybe, your body will say, oh, that's all right, and invite you to maybe come a bit further. So wherever you are at, whether your forehead is right down on those toes, or whether you are partway down, or whether you're further up, or reclining, just allow yourself to stay there in stillness. And breathe into all those places where you're feeling the achiness. So stay here for about 3 more breaths. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling out the nose this time. Moving with the exhale. Getting deeper with an exhale. Inhale in stillness. And as you exhale, fold maybe just a tiny bit more. And then inhaling again. And exhale. Maybe open your mouth. That might feel good. And on your next inhale, push your hands against the mat. Push yourself up, all the way up. Staying for a moment, stay for a breath. And then perhaps taking your hands to the outsides of your knees, bringing those knees together. And from here, you could do some windshield wipers. So windshield wiping, just, your feet a little bit further than your hip width apart, and just rolling one leg in at a time. Just a little bit of movement after that stillness. We were there for a bit. The next posture is straddle, and we are going to do two variations of straddle as well. We can't just do one, So, if you have a smaller little soft block, or if you have your blanket, this is where it might come in handy. You can sit up on it, just not a lot of height, but if you notice that when you sit down, you tend to roll in. If you can't sit up straight, if you can't sit here, but you're here more, this is where you might want to have your blanket folded and just sitting on it so that your sits bones, your cheeks are on the blanket and your sits bones are just off of it. That'll allow you to find that more neutral position. If you don't need it, you can sit upright, fine, no problem. That's great, good for you. So just bring your legs nice and wide. And that's giving me a little bit of issues today. That's okay. I think it's this carpet here. Alrighty. So you don't have to be super wide, okay? You can take them as wide as you want. If you want to take them a little wider, whatever you wish. So first thing you do is you come into your posture and just sit. This is driving me a little bit crazy. There we go. That's better. So breathe. And then turn and face your left leg. Hand on either side. Inhale. And as you exhale, fold over that leg. So it might not be much movement. What you're looking for really is a little bit of side body stretch, and it is a twist. So if you're like me and your side bodies are very, very tight, you're not going to get a lot of movement here. For me to be able to come down further, I generally have to stay in this posture for probably about 5 to 10 minutes. That's how tight I really am in my side bodies. One thing I like to do is so it's the left leg, take your left hand and push it into that sticky mat. And by pushing it in, you are pushing back on that left hip, that left side body, pushing it back a bit just to get yourself aligned a little bit better. And breathing, not really worrying what you look like, not worrying if you're folded forward very far. What you're really looking for, like I said, is sensations. Breathing here. Not staying here very long at all. Another thing you can do is take your right hand now and just lay it on that leg. You might grab your foot, you might grab the outside of your ankle, your calf, not the knee area. And not pulling yourself down, but just finding more of a stretch in the side body. So it just allows you to stretch more. We're not pulling down again, just to reiterate. All we're doing is enhancing the stretch. So by reaching forward and reaching back at the same time with that right hip, we can enhance the sensation and the stretch. Okay, and release wherever you're at. But come out slowly, really slowly. Turn back to the center, breathe. And now the right leg. So looking down the right leg, same thing. So you might take your right leg here, right hand, push against the sticky mat. So all that does is it allows me to take my right side back even further, to align myself over that right leg. Noticing with each breath what you feel. How does it compare to the other side? Are you tighter on one side than the other? This kind of posture, you'll notice if you are. And with your sits bones, we don't want to fold over to grab the foot or to do anything. If we're lifting up that opposite sits bone, keep it down, keep both hips weighted on the mat, and just folding to reach. This is optional. You do not have to do this. If you are here and you're just so juicy, you're getting so much sensation in your side body, just stay here and enjoy it. If you feel like you would like a bit more now on that left side, you just reach to wherever you can, the calf, the ankle, the foot. Do not pull yourself down. Just reaching forward with your hand and back with your left side with your hip. And this will enhance that stretch. It just gives me more along the side body. If I release, then I notice I don't have as much here. So probably could have it if I was really disciplined, could keep that sits bones down and just couple more breaths here. Release. If you do have a hold of that, just release. Staying here for another breath. Pushing yourself up really slowly. Generally slower than you would like. Coming back to center, maybe noticing how you feel in those side bodies now. Staying here at center, breathing. Noticing those sensations. Smile, that feels good, I'm alive. Inhale to find a bit more length. And as you exhale, start to fold forward. You don't have to come far. The three principles, the three tapas, the first one is coming to your edge. So that is when you start to feel some resistance, when you start to feel the sensations. And sensations are not words. They don't speak a language. They're feelings. So if you're hearing words, that's your mind saying, I don't want to do this. And that's fine. But if you do want to do the posture and you want to get into it, listen to your body. Get out of your head. So you might be a person that might benefit from just being right upright, taking your hands behind you, pushing in to the mat, and just finding length in that back body. That's okay. That's great. I did this for a long time, and I still do it sometimes. Once you feel that length, you might want to bring your hands forward. You might want to come down a bit further. Lead from the chest. Flat back, and breathe. So inhale for stillness. Exhale and fold. Inhale here. Exhale here. Staying here, this is good. Wherever you are at. So wherever I go, that's one thing. I can show you some variations. I can show you coming a little further. I can show you to stay upright. But the main teacher you're going to have is your body, is yourself. Listening to your body, listening to those sensations, choosing to honor that. You'll get the most out of these poses when you can come to that point of resistance and sit in stillness. Stillness is another one of those principles of the Yin. We don't move around a lot. We try to stay in as much stillness as possible. And time is the third one. Time to allow the deeper tissues to release. They are more plastic than muscle, so it takes them longer to let go, to allow you to get deeper. So if your body says, oh, you can go a bit further, then do that. You can stretch out your arms, you can bring your face down, you can have your hands back, you can have them behind your back, you can have them here by your feet, grabbing your foot, ankle, inside of foot, whatever, anywhere. Your arms can go anywhere, wherever's comfortable for you. And if you are quite deep into the posture, you might even lay your head down to one side and see how that feels. But make sure that you can feel your whole front body on your mat, on the earth, making contact with the earth. You're not curled in. You don't have your head down and your body up. One more breath here. And then on an inhale, bring your hands so that you push against the earth and come back up. And release it with a sigh. Staying upright for a moment. I love that. Such a great posture. So from here, hands underneath your knees might be the easiest way to come out of this posture. And I'd like you to come straight down onto your back. So I'm moving slow, no rush, all the way down. And we're just going to lie here and breathe. We've done a lot of work already. Notice while you are here, breathing and feeling your mat beneath you, and noticing the sensations within your body. I want you to notice if those sensations are quite intense, do they become less and less noticeable, less intense with each breath? In and out the nose. If it feels good and you want to breathe, exhale out your mouth now and then. Feel free to do so. One more breath here. And if you're ready, start to make your way up. You could even turn onto your side and push yourself up. That's a nice way to come out of the lying down Savasana. So from here, coming over into a child's pose to begin. So your knees are together or apart. Together, you can get a rounding in your spine. If your knees are apart, you can get yourself closer to the mat. If able to, I would like it if you could bring your knees together and try the child's pose this way, Balasana, for today. So we're going to come into a back bend after this. So, it'll be nice to round the spine now because we're going to take it in the opposite direction here in a few moments. So staying in your child's pose, relaxing your head down. If your head doesn't meet your mat, bring your mat to meet your forehead. So that might mean a blanket. Fold it up more if you need. There you go. Or a softer block, or heavier block, even your bolster, whatever it is, even just stacking your fists, 1 fist, 2 fists. So some contact for your forehead. And breathe here. Notice with your knees together and your belly over your knees, your head down, you're very compact. And it's not so easy to breathe as you might be used to. So it's not easy to breathe into the front of your lungs. So maybe breathe into the back of your lungs. So notice if you can inhale and expand the back body. And then exhale. Let all your ribs gather back to center. Inhale. Become big in the back body. And then exhale. Back to neutral. One more. Inhale. Exhale. And then from here, if you know Sphinx, you can start coming right into that. So I'll just actually show you here first. Lying on your belly, your legs can be about hip-width apart or further. So the top of your toes on the mat. You don't need to curl your toes under. Your elbows are just slightly ahead of your shoulders and about shoulder width apart. Let your bottom body really feel heavy on the mat and bring your chest forward and through your arms here. And breathe. If this is too much for your lower back, inch those elbows forward until, what am I saying? Until your lower ribs are hitting the mat. And if this still isn't good for you, if this is still too much of a back bend, you can take those elbows wide, bring your forehead down to the back of your hands or right down onto the mat. So it's not as deep of a back bend, but it's still a back bend. The other option is you can keep yourself up here, your shoulders, your elbows under your shoulders, and you can bring those legs together, engage them, lift the knees, and truly make it quite active. It's very active in the lower body now. Not a yin posture there so much, but it protects your back. You're totally engaged in the lower body, knees lifted. You can get the benefits. So that is another option, and you can even do a combination of the two. So whatever is going to be good for you. The other thing is if your shoulders are an issue, this is where I wanted to show you a bolster. Just putting your lower ribs on that bolster, and you still have your elbows slightly forward of your shoulders, and then your elbows back on the mat, about shoulder width apart. You have your forearms here, and breathe. Couple more breaths here. Notice where the breath lands in your body when you inhale, and maybe where it starts from as you exhale. One more breath. If you have your bolster, please just remove that. Come back into that child's pose. And now you might notice that it really does feel good to keep those knees together. One thing I enjoy doing is a modified cat-cow, if you know cat-cow. So instead of coming into tabletop, just staying in my child's pose, and then chest forward, chest back belly. Oh yeah, the whole back body. Round it. This would be your cow, and this would be your angry cat. Push that mat away. A couple of these just helps me to loosen up and prepare after a back bend to come into the child's pose. So please come into whatever version you wish to come into for your child's pose, and stay here for about 5 breaths or so. I'll cue you, don't worry. Just come into your child's pose, bring your head down, maybe stacking your fists. Breathing into the back body once again. And when you're ready, please come down onto your back once again. All the way down. Bring your knees to your chest, give yourself a little hug. Let go of those knees. Bring your feet to the floor and then shift your hips to the right and then bring your knees to the left. Shoulders are both on the mat. If you need to adjust a bit, do that. Shoulders on the mat, knees to the left. Maybe bring your left hand on top of your knees, top of the hip, wherever. Just let your hand lie there for a little bit of weight. You can have your gaze towards the ceiling, towards the sky. You can look in the opposite direction of your knees, or you can look in the same direction as your knees. Staying here for a couple more breaths. Send the breath into the side body here, into those intercostal muscles. One more breath. If your head has turned, bring it back to center using your core. Bring those knees in, back to center, and then shift your hips to the left, knees to the right, both shoulders down. If you need to adjust, do that. Right hand maybe lying on top of that, of your legs there, top of that left leg. Relax, get heavy on the mat. Breathe into that side body, into those intercostal muscles, in between those ribs. Your gaze wherever feels good. One more breath here. If your head is turned, bring it back to center, please. Using your core, bring those knees in. Give yourself another nice big hug. Maybe roll from side to side, maybe make a couple circles, whatever you want to do, whatever feels good. Eventually coming into Savasana. You can cover yourself with your blanket. You have your blanket here. You could put a bolster under your knees if you think that might feel good. Another one under the knees releases the psoas, and also is nice for the lower back. Another thing you could do though is actually heart bed. Just lay over the bolster like so. Cover yourself with your blanket for comfort. please stay in your Savasana for as long as you can, enjoying that after all the hard work we just did. Thank you for joining me today. It's been my absolute pleasure to offer this class to you.